Now the next sutta is 6.56. Now at that time the Venerable Phagguna was sick, ailing, very ill, and the Venerable Ananda went to the Exalted One, saluted and sat down at one side. So seated he said to the Exalted One, Lord, the Venerable Phagguna is sick, ailing, very ill. Good were it, Lord, if the Exalted One were to go and see the Venerable Phagguna out of compassion. And the Exalted One consented by silence. Then in the evening, after he had come from solitude, the Exalted One visited the Venerable Phagguna. And the Venerable Phagguna saw him coming when he was some way off, and stirred on his bed. But the Exalted One spoke to him and said, Enough, Phagguna, stir not on your bed. Are there not these seats here prepared already? I will sit here. And he sat down on the seat prepared. I'll just stop here for a moment. This Phagguna, although he was very sick, when he saw the Buddha coming, he tried to get up on his bed. And these and other suttas show that the Buddha's disciples had a lot of love in addition to respect for the Buddha. And the sutta continues. So seated, the Exalted One said, I hope, Phagguna, you are bearing up, keeping going, that your aches and pains grow less, not more. That there are signs of their growing less, not more. Lord, I can neither bear up nor keep going. My aches and pains grow grievously more, not less, and there are signs of their growing more, not less. Lord, the violent ache that racks my head is just as though some lusty fellow chopped at it with a sharp-edged sword. Lord, I can neither bear up nor keep going. My pains grow more, not less, and there are signs of their growing more, not less. Lord, the violent pain in my head is just as though some lusty fellow clapped a stout leather strap about it. Lord, I cannot bear it. Lord, the violent stab that shoots through my stomach is just as though a skillful butcher or his apprentice cut it with a carving knife. Lord, I cannot bear it. Lord, the fever of my body is just as though a couple of lusty fellows had seized a weakling by his limbs and toasted him and roasted him over a fire pit. Lord, I cannot bear it, etc., etc. And there are signs of the pains growing worse. So the Exalted One instructed him, roused him, gladdened him, and comforted him with Dhamma talk, then rose from his seat and departed. Now not long after the Exalted One's departure, the Venerable Phagguna died. And at the time of his death, his faculties were clear and calm. Then went the Venerable Ananda to the Exalted One, saluted him and sat down at one side. So seated he said, Lord, not long after the Exalted One left, the Venerable Phagguna died. And at that time his faculties were clear and calm. But why, Ananda, should not the faculties of the monk, Phagguna, have been clear and calm? The monk's mind, Ananda, had not been wholly freed from the 5 lower fetters, but when he heard that Dhamma teaching, his mind was wholly freed. There are 6 advantages, Ananda, in hearing Dhamma in time, in testing its goodness in time. What 6? Consider, Ananda, the monk whose mind is not wholly freed from the 5 lower fetters, but when dying is able to see the Tathagata. The Tathagata teaches him Dhamma, lovely in the beginning, lovely in the middle, lovely in the end, its goodness, its significance, and also makes the holy life wholly fulfilled, perfectly pure. When he has heard that Dhamma teaching, his mind is wholly freed from the 5 lower fetters. This, Ananda, is the first advantage in hearing Dhamma in time. Or, though not just able to see the Tathagata, sees his disciple who teaches him Dhamma and makes known the holy life, etc., then is his mind wholly freed. This, Ananda, is the second advantage. Or, though not able to see the Tathagata or his disciple, continues to reflect in mind on Dhamma, as heard, as learned, ponders over it, pores over it, then is his mind wholly freed. This, Ananda, is the third advantage in testing its goodness in time. Consider, Ananda, the monk whose mind is wholly freed from the 5 lower fetters, whose mind is not wholly freed in respect of the complete destruction of the root of becoming. who when dying is able to see the Tathagata. The Tathagata teaches him Dhamma, makes known the holy life. When he has heard that Dhamma teaching, his mind is wholly freed in respect of the complete destruction of the root of becoming. This Ananda is the fourth advantage in hearing Dhamma in time. Or he sees the Tathagata's disciple who teaches him Dhamma, etc. Then is his mind wholly freed. This Ananda is the fifth advantage. Or, though not able to see the Tathagata or his disciple, ever reflects in mind on Dhamma, as heard, as learnt, ponders on it, pores over it. As he does so, his mind is wholly freed as to the complete destruction of the root of becoming. This Ananda is the sixth advantage in testing his goodness in time. Verily, Ananda, these are the six advantages in hearing Dhamma in time, in testing its goodness in time. It's the end of the sutta. So in this sutta we find that this Venerable Phagguna, he was suffering so much that the way he described the pains in his body, you can imagine the pain that he suffered. And in the suttas, the Buddha said that, and even an Arya has to suffer bodily pains. A Putujana suffers both bodily pains as well as mental pains, but an Arya does not suffer mental pains because he accepts things as they are, as they come, because he knows life, anicca, everything changes. But still, like this monk here, he suffered so much bodily pain. And then when he died, the Buddha said that initially he had not been wholly freed from the 5 lower fetters. That means he was not yet anagami. He could have been Sotapanna or Sakadagamin, but after hearing the Buddha's teaching, his mind was wholly freed from the 5 lower fetters. The 5 lower fetters meaning that he is or at least an anagami. Now, earlier we read that Aryahood and even Arahanthood is obtained during the 5 occasions, from hearing Dhamma, teaching Dhamma, repeating Dhamma, reflecting on Dhamma, and during meditation. And this sutta again confirms that Aryahood or Arahanthood can be obtained from listening to Dhamma. Just as here the Buddha said, either that person hears the Dhamma from the Buddha himself and he obtains freedom from the 5 lower fetters, or if he is already freed from the 5 lower fetters, just from hearing Dhamma itself, he can become an Arahant. Or if he is not able to hear it from the Buddha himself, then he hears it from a disciple of the Buddha, meaning he hears it from another monk. Or even if he does not hear it from another monk, then he reflects on Dhamma, the discourses of the Buddha that he has heard. When he reflects on it, it is possible that the 5 lower fetters can be destroyed. Or if they are already destroyed, then he can even attain Arahanthood by reflecting on Dhamma. And the other one is listening to Dhamma. So this is one of the suttas that again confirms that by listening to sutta or reflecting on Dhamma, then a person can attain Aryahood or Arahanthood.